सो स्वागत करते हैं जी एक बार फिर आप सब ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਅਜ਼ਮੈਰਨਿਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਪਾਰਡਨ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਦੇ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਹਨ। ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਰੋਕ ਲਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਕੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you, Harpreet.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself as you're the president of this company, Pardon Services Canada. Basically, what's the type of work which you do?
Well, we help people with criminal records. 1 out of 8 Canadians has a criminal record. Usually it's minor offenses, drinking and driving, possession of marijuana, shoplifting, assaults. People make mistakes and our service is there to help them go past that and get on with their lives.
Okay, so when we talk about 1 in 8 Canadians, that's a big number basically. And when we see that the statistics which are pointing out to this fact that every one person is facing difficulty going over to the state. So how do you deal with it? It's a major problem. So are these the only reasons that the people are stopped at the border and are not allowed to go further, or there are some other reasons also?
Well, there's many reasons people are not able to cross the border. You know, they might not have the right documentation with them at the time. But for instance, 366 people are denied every day at a U.S. border, U.S.-Canada border.
Right.
Most of them are for criminal records, for the offenses that I mentioned.
Right.
There is recourse available to them, of course.
Yeah, we'll talk about the recourse also. Now, when we talk about the recourse, is it the recourse which has been given by the governments, or how does it go about? The courts give that recourse, or the government has some plans by which they can be helped, and your companies like yours come into the picture and they start helping the people?
Yeah, so we provide the legal documentation service to make an application to the American Department of Homeland Security to get permission for that individual to enter Canada. It's a process that takes about 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
And it would grant them entry into the United States for 1 to 5 years.
Okay. So is that entry which is given to them, is it temporary or is it permanent? And they can go and come back. As you said, it's for a short period.
Well, it's for 1 to 5 years.
Right.
And they can have multiple entries.
Right.
Most of the time. So they can come and go as they please, as any other Canadian.
Right.
Stay up to 6 months in the United States.
So what happens after that period? Can it be extended also?
It can be extended, and they would come back to our offices and we would make an application a year in advance, because it takes some time to get all the documentation together. And we would renew that waiver into the United States.
Okay. So yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if the person decides to enter without that waiver, the risks are quite formidable. You know, they can be arrested, they can be detained, they can be deported, their cars can be seized. Just at the crossing, the Blaine crossing in 2014, 5,000 cars were seized.
Okay.
So it's a risk to travel without a waiver.
Okay. Yeah. So for example, someone is in the United States, has gone from Canada, and there is a traffic violation and he gets a ticket for that. He comes back into Canada and says, oh, what difference is it going to make? I was caught in California, for example. So one doesn't pay for that. And then they get reminders that you need to pay, but one just neglects it. Now, is this also one reason that a person, the next time or after some time when he or she plans to go to the States, can they be stopped for this also?
They won't be stopped at the border for that, because that's a statewide offense. It's a traffic offense. But if that person was in California and they got caught for speeding again, that old infraction would come up, and the fact that they didn't pay it would also come up, and that person would be in a difficult situation.
Right. Yeah. And you talked about criminal offenses. Now, when you say a waiver for some period, why is it for some period? Like, you work on behalf of the client and you prepare the documents and send it. Now, is the government is the United States government giving a pardon for some time, or what is it? What's the process like?
It's not a pardon, it's called a U.S. Entry Waiver. And the American government gives it for periods valid from 1 to 5 years.
Right.
But so the first time you apply, you get a 1-year waiver.
Okay.
And if there's no incidents while you are visiting the United States, and they're likely to extend it to 3 years, if there's no incidents again, in 5 years. But unfortunately, there's no such thing as a permanent waiver.
Right.
So you always have to make an application to the American government for entry to their country.
So what are the grounds which you work on that a person needs to be given that waiver for a year or up to 5 years? So are there any specific reasons you work on, or is just you fill up a form and just send it across?
Oh no, there's quite a bit involved. There are forms, of course, to fill out.
Right.
And there's a way to fill out the forms to get the maximum advantage from the Department of Homeland Security. We also send in supporting letters. We also send in certified criminal records, court documents. So it's an onerous process. So for an individual to do it themselves, it's difficult.
Right. So 1 year, for example, a person has got a waiver for 1 year and he or she goes into states, and once again there is something which is against the law, one does. Now you are on a waiver and you commit some crime over there, or you do something wrong. So can a person again be arrested for that, or he or she is sent back to Canada?
They would be sent back to Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, and they would have a difficult time getting another waiver again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else which you would like to tell our viewers today, because there are many people from our community, South Asian community, who face this issue of being stopped at the border, not being allowed to go to the States. Any message which you would like to give to them, and how they can take advantage of these services?
Well, the record is not going to go away by itself.
Right.
You can't ignore it. You have to do something about it. And if you want to enter the United States, make sure you get an entry waiver, otherwise you're going to put your family in jeopardy. You know, every day we get callers, people, honeymooners, they're at the airport, they're ready to fly to Hawaii or to Los Angeles or Las Vegas, and unfortunately the groom made a mistake when he's 20s. You know, he's experimented with marijuana or something, and they're not allowed to board, and it's such an expense, and it's a little humiliating for the family. So it's better just to do your homework, apply for this. You know, there's a reasonable cost. The time frame is not so long, and if they have questions, they're welcome to call our offices at 1-8-NOW-PARDON. It's easy to remember.
Okay.
And we can advise them on the appropriate course.
And is there any website also where they can go and get the information?
Our website is removeyourrecord.com. Removeyourrecord.com.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you. This is a new information what you are sharing with our viewers today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Harpreet.
Thank you. So जो ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਉਹ ਹਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਪਾਰਡਨ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ ਨੇ। 1 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 5 ਸਾਲ ਤੱਕ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵੇਵਰ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਜਿਸਨੇ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਫ੍ਰਿੰਜਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਲਾਅ ਦੀ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੈਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ। ਜੇਕਰ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਵੇਵਰ ਲੈ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ 1 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 5 ਸਾਲ ਤੱਕ ਹੋ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੜਾ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਿੱਤੀ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਟ ਦ ਲਾਸਟ ਮਿੰਟ ਕਿਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਦਾ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ।